Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Weller here. Today we are going to be doing an activity discovering Johannes Kepler and Isaac Newton's laws about planetary orbits. So you're going to be using this Google slideshow to answer some of the questions. However, when you get down here to the first part where it says simulation on Kepler's first law or the law of ellipses, it requires you to run an animation that is no longer compatible with your Chromebook. So I have the program downloaded to my laptop, and I'm going to go ahead right now and walk you through these instructions and show you exactly what you're supposed to record onto your lab. So, which question on your lab does this one pertain to? It pertains to question number 5, and then we're going to be doing parts A, B, and C. All right, so question number 5. So I'm going to go through the instructions and you're going to be filling in the data table and answering the questions as we go. All right, so I'm reading these instructions and I'm going to be using this simulator right here. So the first thing that you're going to notice is we are looking at Kepler's first law. And step 1, it says underneath the orbit settings, select the planet Mercury. Well, you can see it's already defaults to planet Mercury, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So what you're looking at is this is the sun and this is the planet Mercury, and this is going to be the orbit of planet Mercury. The next thing it says to do is fill in these values on your data table. Well, the values are the actual numbers right here for the semi-major axis and the eccentricity for the planet Mercury. And you can see that slot on the data table. All right, the next thing it says to do for number 3, it says turn on and then off the words empty focus and semi-major axis, and then describe what you think these words mean. So I'm going to click on empty focus here and show semi-major axis here. And it says to describe what you think these words mean. So you might want to pause the video here and go ahead and describe what you think these words mean. So it says turn them on and then off. So let's turn off the empty focus and on. Turn off the semi-major axis and on. All right, and the other semi-major axis line looks like that. So again, to be clear, this is Mercury out here, the planet Mercury, and this is the sun. All right, then it says for number 5, start the animation and you're going to observe. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these off here, and we are observing the planet Mercury. And so we're going to go ahead and start the animation. And notice Mercury is going around the sun very quickly. So the first thing it asks you is to increase the eccentricity. What happens to the speed of Mercury when it gets closer to the sun? So right now I'm going to increase the eccentricity, which is this button right here. I'm going to pull it all the way to the right and watch very carefully as Mercury moves around the sun if we increase the eccentricity. So what happens when it's closer to the sun, and then what happens when Mercury is farther from the sun? So you might want to pause the video right here and then answer the questions. All right, the next part is I'm going to hit reset. This time we're going to go to planet Earth, and I'm going to click OK. So notice these numbers right here for semi-major axis and eccentricity have changed. So then it says, do you think that this orbit is more or less elliptical than Mercury? So again, look very carefully at this, and you might want to go back in the video and look at Mercury's just to compare. Now, the next thing it says is to start the animation. So I'm going to go ahead for Earth and start the animation. And it says, turn on the grid lines. So here is the grid lines right here. And it says, now that those grid lines are on, is it possible to see Earth speeding up and slowing down? If you can watch Earth travel across space over those grid lines. The next thing it asks you to do is turn on the radial lines. And it's asking you, what do you notice with that? So if I click the radial lines here, look carefully at the green line. And what do you notice about the radial lines? So it says fill in these answers on the data table, and you have completed number 5.